One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Good early evening, everybody. It's 7 o'clock here on the East Coast, starting to get a little chilly here in Florida. Governor DeSantis put out the warning for falling iguanas, and to make sure that, don't go up and try to mess with them. They're not necessarily dead. They could just freeze up. They go into something called a state of torpor. Never even heard that term before, but basically what happens is they just seize up. And wherever they are, if they're on a roof, they're in a tree, wherever they might be, once they seize up because of the cold, they just start dropping out of trees. I mean, it's a real phenomenon. It may rain iguanas tonight in South Florida. We're supposed to get down to, I don't know, I'm not going to get wimpy. We're supposed to get down to about 33 degrees overnight with a wind chill factor that drops it to 19. So we indeed could see some, falling iguanas. If I see any in the yard, I'll take pictures for you. But, we're not going to complain because the sun will be up tomorrow and everything will be fine. So I just hope you guys are okay with I guess what they're calling is a bomb cyclone. Don't know anything about that. I guess I forgot about it since I haven't been in Connecticut in decades. But wherever you are, stay safe, stay warm. If you don't have to go out the house, don't leave. Enjoy yourself. Turn on television, watch some movies. Speaking of movies, man, this is a tough room. This is a very tough room. I put up the poll, said about the Melania movie. And the Melania movie, 25% of you guys said, no, I'm not even spending the money on it. I'm like, wow. Wow, 25% of you said, nope, not even going. That's amazing to me. That's pretty amazing when you think about it. By the way, despite all the liberals trying to trash the movie and suppress the sales, it had one of the biggest opening weekends, and we're still in the weekend, one of the biggest opening weekends for a documentary in history. And we're only, one day and a half into the weekend, and it's already done like 8, 9, 10 million bucks. Great job for you guys out there to support it. In any event, we're going to be giving away tickets starting Monday. That's what we're going to do. I've got the site done. I've got some manipulations I've got to do, some coding, some text stuff, and everything else. And then we'll be ready to resume. We're going to give the hat giveaway. We'll start that. And we will also start the Melania ticket giveaway as well. So I'm home. I'm not in the studio. I'm in my home studio, and I hope everything with the internet is going to be fine. So let's see. Let's make sure. So, as I've told you many, many times, I work and plan a show, even on Saturdays. I spend an hour or two, and I'm like, I'm going to talk about Georgia finally. And then, as always happens, President Trump does something that kind of pushes that to the side. So I'm gonna start the show after I talk to you about some news that came out. And I want to ask you a question. Many of you, including myself, don't know the answer to this. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a historian. I'm not a constitutional expert. I can read. And I stayed in a Holiday Inn. So what do you think it takes to invoke the Insurrection Act? And I know there's a lot of people out there who says, well, he's got to come out with a hear ye, and some big exclamation and proclamation or executive order. Nope, doesn't have to. In fact, I'm going to show you something that may be weird to some of you. I'm sure some people will object. But I'm almost wondering if that's what he did tonight. Did President Trump just invoke the Insurrection Act? Here, before I begin, let's look at this. All right, so I went on a simple Google search. It didn't use Grok or nothing. And I asked the question, as you can see here, how must the president announce his intent to invoke the Insurrection Act? And here's what the answer was. To invoke the Insurrection Act, the President of the United States must formally issue a public proclamation ordering the insurgents or those obstructing federal law to disperse and return to their homes peacefully within a limited time. This requirement is mandated by 10 U.S.C. 254, formerly 334, which dictates that before the military forces are deployed, a proclamation must be issued to give individuals an opportunity to cease their actions. It doesn't say anything about, you got to type it up and have to make it look pretty. It just says there has to be some sort of proclamation. Here are the requirements for said proclamation. A public order. The proclamation must be public, not secret, and is a mandatory step before troops can be utilized. You guys can all read that yourself. It just has to be public. See, the founding fathers and the people who put this together didn't know we had this thing called social media. Back then they used to think that, if we'd had a town square or something, we'd have to step on the box and say, hey, hear ye, and announce it. And then became newspapers and radio and television. And now we have this thing called social media. Second thing, the command to disperse. The president must formally order those causing the disturbance to disperse and retire peacefully to their home. Number 3, legal necessity. The proclamation must be issued after the president has already determined that unlawful obstructions, combinations, or assemblages, or rebellion against the authority of the United States make it impracticable to enforce federal laws through regular judicial proceedings. All right, you got that so far? So far, you just got to say it. You guys got to go home. You can't stay here, but you got to get the hell out of here. Number 2, that's the command. He must formally say, stop. Legal necessity must be issued after he has already made that determination. Yeah, they're messing up. So it's after I've determined that. And the procedural context. This is what's really interesting. While the president has significant discretion in determining when a crisis exists, the issuance of this proclamation is the required public signal that the Insurrection Act has been invoked. If the individuals fail to comply with this order, then the president can then deploy the military. Historically, this is done by executive orders, but it's not necessity, such as in the cases of Arkansas in 1957. All right, so now that you've read that and you understand where we are in terms of different things and where the president might be in issuing this, let me show you specifically what he said tonight. Now you got to remember everything you just heard so that you can see what he just posted. When I say just posted, about 2 hours ago. This is what he posted. All right, listen to this. Watch it, read it yourself. I have instructed Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem that under no circumstances are we going to participate in the various poorly run Democrat cities with regard to the protest and or riots unless and until they ask for help. So you got to ask me. And then he goes on, furthermore, which is pretty much like Jack Nicholson in the movie. We will, however, guard and very powerfully so any and all federal buildings that are being attacked by these highly paid lunatics, agitators, and insurrectionists. Please be aware that I have instructed ICE and or Border Patrol to be very forceful in its protection of federal government property. I don't even know how you would interpret that other than I've given them permission to kick some ass. There will be no spitting in the faces of our officers, so he's recognizing it. There will be no punching or kicking the headlights of our cars. There will be no rock or brick throwing at our vehicles or at our patriot warriors. If there is, right, this is when the turn comes. If they do that, if you idiots on the street start doing that, if you do that, these people will suffer an equal or more consequence. I don't know how anybody else would read that is, don't FA and you won't FO. I'm letting you know right now, we are poised. I've given the order to Kristi Noem. See, I think when people think Insurrection Act, they think the entire country. No, it can be limited. So what you just read, just in that certain part there was, I have instructed. Might as well have said, I have ordered. I have ordered Kristi Noem, ICE, Border Patrol, if they get out of line, spank the hell out of these people. You don't want that to happen, so you might not do it. That's pretty much what he said. Please aware that I have instructed to be very forceful. There will be no hitting, punching, and all that stuff. If there is, those people will suffer an equal or more consequence. In the meantime, and this is where I look at it as a declaration, a proclamation of sorts. In the meantime, where was I? Missed my, okay. In the meantime, by copy of this statement, I am informing local governments, as I did in Los Angeles when they were rioting at the end of the Biden term, that you must protect your own state and local property. In addition, it is your obligation to also protect the federal property. So now he's giving an edict to the local governments. I can see that you're not doing it. You better do it. We are there to protect federal property only as a backup. It's your responsibility. You guys are supposed to be doing what you're doing, and if you don't do it, then you're going to make us do it. This is in that is local and state responsibility. Last night in Eugene, Oregon, those criminals broke into a federal building and did great damage, also scaring and harassing the hardworking employees. Local police did nothing. Another standard has been met here. He is acknowledging local police did nothing in order to stop it. We will not let it happen anymore. I mean, absent a hear ye, wheretofore, this pretty much looks like to me like he's announcing, if you don't handle business, we will. I don't know how else you could read it. If local governments are unable to handle the insurrectionists, the agitators, and the anarchists, we will immediately go to the location where such help is requested and take care of the situation very easily and methodically, just as we did in Los Angeles a year ago, where the police chief said we couldn't have done it without you. I spelled it out. If you don't do it, we're coming. This is your last shot. I will not allow you to continue to do what you're doing, basically nothing, and allowing these people to have a peaceful protest. That's over. And what we've seen from what he's done overseas, if I were these people, I wouldn't, don't try to call his bluff. He's laying it down here. I mean, seriously laying it down. He said, we couldn't have done it without the help. Therefore, and this is where it is, therefore, to all complaining local governments, governors, and mayors, let us know when you are ready and we will be there. But before we do so, you must use the word please. Now, if you saw the movie A Few Good Men, you know exactly in that movie where Jack Nicholson told Tom Cruise, say please. What? When you address me, say please. And I'm thinking, he must have had that movie out or something. You're going to have to say please. You're going to have to, in order for me not to do it, you're going to have to say, yeah, we need your help. You're going to have to beg me, because if you don't, we're coming. He continued after saying it. Remember that I stated in the strongest of language to, quote, beware, in big bold letters, ICE, Border Patrol, or if necessary, our military. And that was the first time in this missive that he mentioned the words military. Will be extremely powerful and tough in protection of a federal property. We will not allow our courthouses, federal buildings, or anything else under our protection to be damaged in any way, shape, or form. I was elected on a policy of border control, which has now been perfected, national security, and law and order. That's what America wants, and that's what America is getting. Thank you for your attention to this matter. He posted that at 3:55 p.m. So you guys can chat amongst yourselves, and you can tell me, what do you think he's talking about? I mean, that was a long, directed, say please, you got to do this. We all know there's insurrectionists, they're anarchists, there are all these people on the ground. I recognized it. I mean, I don't know any other way to look at that. That to me was the demand before the formal declaration. He's already ordered Kristi Noem, get in there. And now let's see what happens in the next 24 hours. Now he's given them a chance. Remember, when I was showing you the definition, it actually says, where is it? Yeah. The president must formally order those causing the disturbance to disturb. This one. The proclamation sets a limited time for compliance. So the limited time right now is, I'm going to do it if I see any more of this stuff happening. It could be tonight. It could be tomorrow. Try me. Try me. So I just happened to read that, and I was just wondering if anybody else previewed that the way I did, and looking like, I'm done. I'm over this craziness. You guys can't keep doing this, and we're going to stop it one way or the other. Now, I can tell you what'll happen. If he puts the military and they start using forceful, whatever forceful means, man, I hope they're not putting out the poop ray. I hope they're not getting ready to drop some poop ray guns in there. That would be very quickly. Just watch them. Oh, they all fell down at once. Oh, they all pooped their pants at the same time. Don't put it past them. It is the most non-lethal thing that they could probably use. Just dial it down to 2 or 3 and watch them all fall down, poop, and throw up. I told you, I'd do it. But then watch what happens with the media. See, the part of this is I think the media and the Democrats want this. They need it. They can't win, and they know they're in trouble, deep trouble, and they're trying to provoke him. But at the same time, I think President Trump knows, and at least he should know, that you're behind him 100%. You need to be letting him know on X and Truth Social, if you're on it, do it. We want you to go ahead and do it, because it's going to get crazy, absolutely crazy when they move in. I mean, you ain't going to, if you weren't alive during the 60s, you're not going to remember how bad this is going to be. You think they're fighting now? Wait till they have to, man, I can't even imagine. I like to see their eyes cross and poop their pants. Violent diarrhea. Now you're just teasing me, Barry. I would also love to see it. I'm not teasing you. I'm just surmising. And I'm like, I could imagine if he's like, you know what? Send in the poop ray. Yeah. I would love to see them flopping along out in the cold weather, running, holding their butts. I don't want to see them die. I don't want to see them get shot at. You know, I want them to feel some sort of pain that is recoverable, but just enough to incapacitate them. Just enough pain where they're like, I don't think I want to show up tomorrow, okay? You guys are going to have to get somebody else to carry these damn signs, because I can't do it. I mean, I don't know what, you heard what the people in Venezuela said. I read you that. Like, we ain't never seen anything like this. Hey, we just watch guys just drop. Just come, and I'm thinking to myself, how easy would that be? You guys really want some of this, huh? Directed energy. I don't know if he'd ever do it on Americans, but I would love to see it. I couldn't even imagine. I'll be back in 90 seconds, and we'll start talking about Georgia. You ever see something in the store and think to yourself, I gotta have that? That's exactly for me. That's the kind of product I could see myself in. Well, if you're a MAGA Trump supporter, this is something you are going to want to take a look at. Check out the Trump MAGA sneakers. These sneakers are beautiful. They're awesome. Red, white, and blue. Got the accents, red on the heel. Beautiful, beautiful sneakers. If you guys have ever wanted to make a statement, if you're ever out in the club, if you're ever just shopping, maybe at the golf course, well, they're not really golf sneakers, but you could still wear them playing golf. I would tell you to jump all over this. These sneakers are awesome. Every time I've worn them, whether it's down to a Dolphins football game, whether it's going into a restaurant, it always catches eyes. People always say, what are those? And I tell them very simply, they are the Trump gold sneakers. Now, I know some of you guys might feel this is a little bit audacious, a little bit bold, but why not be bold right now? Trust me, these aren't just shoes. These are a fashion statement. They are conversation starters. The gold shine, the red, white, and blue accents. You're literally wearing your American pride on your feet. And let me tell you, nothing shuts down a woke lecture faster than walking in with these bad boys on your feet. But here's the thing, they don't just look good. They feel good. They're comfortable. They're durable. They're lightweight. These aren't the kind of sneakers you're going to leave in the box. They're not going to sit in the back of your closet. So toss your dusty, old, worn out shoes aside. You've been wearing holes in them. This shoe, people are going to take notice of. You're going to want to have these. The best part, the message that it sends, never surrender. Every time you put these on, it's a reminder that you stand for the flag, that you stand for the blue. Don't back down. You keep fighting for everything that you believe in. They also make a perfect gift. Everybody knows that's somebody who's a Trump supporter who's looking for something that they can wear with pride. They'll flip out when they unwrap these bad boys. So go ahead and get yourself a pair of these Trump gold never surrender sneakers. Head to themagaoffers.com/Barry. And if you go to themagaoffers.com/Barry. You can use that link for up to 15% off of your entire order today. You got to get some. Go get some Trump MAGA sneakers and start stepping. Your fans, your friends, your coworkers, some of them might not like it, but who the hell cares? Go there today.
Fulton County.
And a lot of stuff about this FBI raid.
Is it just me, or does she look like Kamala Harris on a budget and Michael Jackson outfit?
At the Fulton County elections and registrations, I'm on the inside right now. So
Doing this video while the FBI was taking 700 boxes.
I just want you to be like real discerning about all that you're hearing from people who are on the outside of what's going on. I'm going to give you the truth about what's happening.
You about to give us that bullshit.
Oh, they served a warrant, the FBI, this is Trump, serving a warrant to go pick up the 2020 ballots, which are in a secure location inside of here, 700 boxes.
I just want to let you know, I didn't speed this up. This lady was there when they executed the search warrant, and you can tell she's freaking out. I mean, hey, honey, slow down, back off, chill, it's okay. They just took a bunch of boxes. That's all it was, right? You have nothing to worry about.
So if this is the 2020 election, why y'all tripping? I mean, just give them the boxes. What the problem is?
The first warrant that they gave was incorrect legally, like they didn't follow the right procedure. They went back and they fixed it, and they came back, and now they aren't actually collecting the boxes.
You didn't think that was going to come back?
Or in the chain of command in Fulton County is that once they are archived, they become the possession of the clerk of Superior Court, which is Shay Alexander. She is here and she is with them inventorying everything that they're taking.
That's why your nervous ass out in the hallway doing the video.
Is there any other way to look at this woman other than she's losing it? Like, man, if I could ever make a video to exhibit panic and fear, oh, this is it, for sure.
Commissioners, the chairman, the county attorney are trying to figure out a legal plan as to maybe an injunction, a motion to quash. We don't know yet.
Y'all should have thrown them shits away a long time ago, okay? That's too late for that shit.
We're trying to figure it out. We're getting all kinds of legal advice to stop this, because once they have the ballots, how do we then turn around and do something different when they've already got their hands on it?
What's something different are you gonna do? These are ballots from the 2020 election. What you gonna do?
This is an attempt to take your vote away.
Bitch, they already voted. This is 2020. The votes have been counted. They're in. We didn't have the presidency already. And a new president.
This is all about November 2026, about the primary on May 19th and then the November election. He does not want the midterm elections to take away his power.
No shit, Sherlock, but they ain't got shit to do with the cheating that y'all was doing in 2020.
So he's trying to create chaos. So this is what he does.
This is what y'all do.
Chaos in Minnesota, chaos in Fulton County.
See, this bitch gonna keep making me cuss. He ain't causing no chaos there. That's the protesters doing all that agitating. And that's your ass doing all that cheating in Fulton.
We are a target. Protect your vote at all costs.
How are we supposed to protect it if y'all out there stealing them?
I'm telling you, everybody always says your life depends on it. Oh, your life does depend on it this time.
I know we said it 19,000 other times on every other election, but this time we're being really, really for real. Your whole life. I know that bitch didn't walk off like she done really said something. Boo! Boo! I promise I can't stand these Democrats. Lord have mercy.
Hey, it's Saturday night, all right? So I took some creative leisure here to break the ice because it needs to be broken. These people are losing it. Notice how quickly everyone stopped talking about it. How everybody kind of pushed it to the side, and we don't want to really keep talking about this because of how bad it is. You know, one of the things, in all seriousness, we have to realize is that we are in completely unprecedented, uncharted, deep, deep blue poopy water. We are on the precipice of there being an investigation to essentially overturn a presidential election. This is just in Georgia, but it's going to keep continuing in probably some of the other states that were kind of close. The Democrats know this, which is why I firmly believe the freakout is actually happening. When you couple the fraud together with the cheat, you're getting a lot of people with very soiled depends. Yeah, they'll use, the little idiots out there to cause all kinds of problem because they can't stop what's coming. No one can stop what's coming. Finally, you can tell your favorite black pill panicking to go shut the F up. I'm going to prove to you right now in tonight's show that all these panicking should really shut up. They're embarrassing themselves because Georgia is the first domino that's probably going to fall. And then after that, we are going to see other states go along the same way. When the 2020 election is proven to be stolen, what will happen? Again, this is uncharted waters. I can't answer that question. I don't even know how somebody can adjudicate that. It's like, wait a second. So you're telling me they stole an election? Yeah. You proved it. Yep. So what do we do? Well, first thing, go up to Washington and to the Supreme Court and get that whack job Ketanji Brown Jackson out of here because she couldn't even define what a woman is. All right, so we got to get rid of her. How does that happen? I don't know. I don't even know who would order that. Is that what the Insurrection Act would have to be? You'd have to go in there and tell her, pack your shit and get out? I don't know. How about every legislation that Biden signed, including the auto pen, is ripped up and sent back to Congress to review? All of it. How do you do that? I don't know. How about you go and find every single one of his judicial appointments that were confirmed? Nope. Nope. Those appointments never existed. How do you do that? How do you take back 8,000 plus pardons? How do you undo all that? I ain't got no idea. I don't know who has the idea, but I do know we are in some serious deep poop. Last week I started touching on the Georgia thing, and I was telling you the chronological order of what has happened. January 3rd, they go to Venezuela and they get Maduro. It's very important to remember that. January 12th, 2 grand juries open up here in Florida, one in Fort Pierce, one in Fort Lauderdale or Miami. And then a couple days ago, they go up and kick in the doors of Georgia. And what was very interesting to me, I'm going to put this on the screen, was this picture that was published all over the place. And I want to ask you something. Obviously, that's Tulsi Gabbard. And Tulsi Gabbard is standing in such a situation where people can see the back of the truck or the back of the warehouse or something with her talking to somebody on the phone, showing all those ballot boxes being taken. The big question that came up was, why was Tulsi Gabbard there? Why was Tulsi Gabbard there while they were taking all these boxes? FBI or Pam Bondi why was the director of national intelligence there? She's got no jurisdiction per se. And if you really look closely, and that's why I wanted to show you this, if you really look closely, she heads basically the spy agency of the United States, right? You guys all got that? She's like the head spook. She's like the head spy. She knows that media and other people are watching to see what's happened. So let me show you what I think has been the biggest C-O-M-M, of the Trump presidency. There it is right there. You've got the head spook standing in an open door, making a phone call, showing everybody, we got the ballots. If that's not a I don't know what it is. She wasn't trying to hide. She knew the cameras were on her. She knew that people would be taking pictures. And look at me now. That to me was a signal to a lot of different people, which is why the freakout has really begun in the media and in Democrat circles. The head spook who knows how to not be seen, the head spook who realizes people are going to be looking at her, the head spook basically in the government, hey, take my picture. Let everybody see, A, I'm here. B, I'm running this. C, I'm coming for you. That's what I took from that picture. That's what I think has got these Democrats completely freaked out.
Lawmakers and election officials are demanding answers from Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, after she was seen at the site where FBI agents raided a Fulton County, Georgia election facility. Agents seized materials related to the 2020 election. The Wall Street Journal reports that Gabbard has spent months investigating the results of the 2020 election.
They leave these little tidbits of information. They run through them. Like, wait, back up. wait a minute. Tulsi Gabbard has been spending months investigating the 2020 election? Oh, really? I thought they told us nothing was happening. So you have known that she's been investigating the 2020 election. That's funny. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, everybody else, they said nothing was happening. I can't wait to see some arrests. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening because they didn't tell you and you didn't know. The media just now is telling people she has spent, quote, let's see what it says here.
Lost.
She has spent months investigating the results of the 2020 election that Donald Trump lost, according to White House officials. Like they needed to put that in there. Like you needed to reinforce that, oh, he lost. At this point, it doesn't matter. She's investigating it, and she's been doing it for months. How many months? Could this have been something that they've been doing since day one of his presidency? And nobody knew until she showed up at that warehouse. Check me out, boys. When did it begin? Was it as soon as he took office? Months. What do you mean months? He's only been in office months. He's been there like, 13 months, 12 months. What do you mean months? Who else is working on it? Have you thought of this stuff?
According to White House officials, she's begun studying information about voting machines, analyzed data from swing states, and pursued theories that President Trump has promoted to claim the 2020 election was unfairly taken from him. On Friday, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche defended Gabbard's presence at the search in Fulton County.
I mean, yes, I saw the same photos you did. I mean, she doesn't work for the Department of Justice or the FBI. She's an extraordinarily important part of this administration. This administration coordinates everything we do as a group. And so I think her presence.
What? Everything we do, we coordinate as a group. We are one unit working in cohesion. Yeah, I saw the photos. I hope a lot of other people saw those photos because this is what we've been doing.
There shouldn't be questioned. Of course, I mean, that's a big part of her job. And so the fact that.
Did you know that? You? No? I didn't know that investigating the 2020 election was a big part of her job. Now, all of a sudden, on January 28, 29, whatever day it was that it happened, now we're finding out that she's been investigating this for months, and it's a big part of her job. Wow. I didn't know that.
She was present in Atlanta that day, is something that shouldn't surprise anybody.
What? Why shouldn't it surprise us? I think all of us should be surprised. You're not surprised because you've been working on it. Shouldn't surprise you. It surprised the hell out of me that Tulsi Gabbard showed up at Georgia. Obviously surprised the hell out of people in Fulton County. They never saw it coming. They had gotten complacent and cocky and never saw it coming. And they definitely didn't see it coming with Tulsi Gabbard. They may have been thinking, well, we'll watch and see what Pam's doing. Oh, we'll see what Cash Patel. Oh, she's coming?
Breaking tonight, FBI agents are going through materials found today during a search of the Fulton County, Georgia election office. That search is said to be related to the 2020 election. Correspondent David Spunt has details tonight. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. FBI agents are still on site at the records warehouse for the Fulton County, Georgia Board of Elections. The matter is sealed before a court, meaning details are limited, but we can report this is related to the 2020 presidential election. Sources tell Fox News that agents retrieved documents, phones, and computers after a judge signed a warrant.
Documents, phones, and computers. She's been working on this for months. I wonder if somehow some of the spooks have, mined into these computers, have been listening on these phones. These people, their goose is so cooked that they don't even know it, never saw it coming. They took their phones, they took their computers. This is 2026. So I doubt, I don't walk around with messages from 2020. I don't even know that. I didn't even have this phone in 2020. I mean, here's my other phone, my older phone. Right here. Here's my 2020-ish phone, the older one. Who walks around with a phone from 6 years ago at that level? So they knew to take those new phones and those new computers. In 6 years, has been probably a changeover of employees. When you listen and you hear what they say, it's like, wait. I doubt most of these people were even there in 2020. But they took all their phones and computers.
Trump has long made Georgia, and specifically Fulton County, a target of his complaints relating to the 2020 election. Shortly after that election, Trump spoke to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and said he needed 11,780 votes to win the state. At the time, Raffensperger said he felt pressure from Trump and denied any widespread election fraud. He continues to deny it to this day. Now, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis brought state criminal charges again then former President Trump and others in 2023 for conspiracy to overturn the election. But her prosecution, Brett, was eventually derailed completely after it was revealed she had an intimate relationship with the top prosecutor on her team, and it could have tainted the case. Late last year, a judge dismissed the case in its entirety. Now, Brett, last month, the Justice Department sued Fulton County, Georgia, seeking access to 2020 voting records after state officials allegedly failed to respond to a subpoena. Fox News has learned the head of the FBI's Atlanta field office was recently forced out in recent days, but it's unclear, Brett, if this is all related. Back to you.
All right, so they tried to sue to get the records, and that didn't work. They were stalling them or whatever, and they couldn't get anybody to get the records for them. But somehow, based on January 12th and a grand jury, they obviously had some additional information, and they were able to not just get a warrant, but just kick in the door. Interesting.
Okay, David, we'll follow it. Thank you.
Are you concerned that this raid on the search of the Fulton County Elections Office, that it's going to be used as a pretext come 26 or even 28?
There may not be 2026 and 2028 elections. Now you understand why the Democrats have been freaking out. Trump's just going to try and stop the elections. Well, no, it won't be him. There's going to be a whole bunch of evidence. And this is Mark Warner, senator from Virginia, who sits on the so-called Intelligence Committee.
Yes. The first few months of the second Trump administration, when people asked me this question, I wasn't that concerned. I am more concerned now. It is absolutely critical that we protect the integrity of our elections, make sure these are still one state and local. I'm even concerned that some of the agencies that used to help states get up to snuff, are they so politicized now that they could undermine states' efforts? There's a ton of questions that I never thought we'd have to ask in this.
There's a lot of questions a lot of us never thought we'd have to ask. Now that you say it, Senator Warner, A lot of us never thought we'd ever have to wonder if somebody was stealing an election. A lot of us never thought we'd have to wonder or even ask ourselves the question, is our government stealing trillions of dollars from us? These are trivial questions compared to what this is all about. We never thought we'd have to see a Supreme Court justice who couldn't tell you what a woman is. That's a question I ask myself often. Robin, you're a woman, right? Yeah, okay. So what do you mean? You have spent the last couple years making everybody in America ask questions they never thought they would have to ask. Why are we giving so much money to SNAP? Why were gas prices so high? Why is this? Why is that? Why are these people out in the street? These are all questions we never thought we'd have to ask. Now you're going to have to start answering them.
Country.
And so I want you to listen to this. Dovetailing off of what you just heard about Tulsi Gabbard. And Tulsi Gabbard, you just heard, I think it was Wall Street Journal said, she's been working on this for months. If you haven't seen this, I'm going to play it, and light bulbs are going to go, oh, shiite. It's really going to come clean to you. And I don't know if he meant to, but listen to what he says.
But the FBI on Wednesday did obtain a search warrant to look at this Fulton County election hub, to access physical ballots, electronic ballot images, and voter rolls. Is there anything you can share at this moment?
Hey, Kaylee, it's great to be with you. Look, like any other investigation, the FBI follows the facts and the law, and President Trump and the Attorney General have given us clear mandate to reduce crime in this country and investigate anything that rises to the level of probable cause. And what we did, the FBI, with our partners at the Department of Justice and the AG, let out on an extensive effort to conduct interviews and an investigation, which led us to a probable cause to be delivered to a judge who found probable cause for us to execute that search warrant, which you saw and the nation saw yesterday. And what we did was what we do in any other investigation. We went in there, we followed the rules of the search warrant. The FBI and the DOJ went in and collected numerous pieces of evidence that the judge authorized us to collect. And what we're going to do next is go through the voluminous amounts of information collected and continue our investigation. At this point, there's not much more I can say publicly because we have to go through a lot more material, but it was predicated upon a finding of probable cause by a judge in Georgia.
All right, so everybody who's screaming, including the media, everybody who's screaming on this stuff right now, they all forget to say a judge signed off on it. A judge found probable cause. A judge said, it looks like there might be some fire under this smoke. They're blaming it on Trump. They're blaming it on Tulsi Gabbard. They're blaming it on anybody they possibly can, except for the fact none of the people that they're blaming on were involved in making it happen. They took it to a judge. A judge found, quote, probable cause. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and many of you may not be lawyers, but probable cause is smells like a duck, walks like a duck, might be some ducks up in there. So go ahead and go do what you got to do. And the problem that the left is having is nobody knows what this information is other than the little bit that they put on the affidavit, because they only have to put a certain amount on the charging document. They don't have to say and show all their cards. And so right now, the Democrats are at complete disadvantage. They have no idea what the heck is going on. I had showed you this about the warrant a couple of days ago. 52 USC 2511 cited in a search warrant carries criminal penalties for any election official who, quote, knowingly and willfully deprives, defrauds, or attempts to deprive or defraud the residents of a state of a fair, impartial conducted election process by the procurement, casting, or tabulation of ballots that are known by the person to be materially false, fictitious, or fraudulent under the state in which the election is held. A lot of legal verbiage there, but here's what you have to focus on. If that's the statute of which they're using as the predicate to get the search warrant, and if this statute says you knowingly and willfully deprived, defrauded, etc., if the statute says the person to be materially false, fictitious, or fraudulent, if that's what the statute says, then the evidence that they showed the judge is like, well, this is what you want to go after. Prove to me that, you might have this. Oh, wow. You have enough to potentially make a case here. You have probable cause that, yeah, I can write that. So there's one of probably a couple different things that has happened here. Either somebody told them something. Well, I guess that's the same thing. Either somebody told them something or somebody told them something. Here we are in 2026, and all of a sudden the wheels are turning, and more than likely somebody said something. Because all the documents and everything else, now all of a sudden the wheels are turning. They bring this statute to the judge. The judge says, looks like there's fire under that smoke. Go for it. This is what we don't have. This is what the Democrats are freaking out on, because the judge looked at it and went, okay, I think this could be something. Go ahead. So all the people screaming in the media right now, everybody who's out there bitching and moaning, they don't know what this is either. I'm holding this up because this is the basic evidence hand. And nobody knows what that hand is, because you can look at the statute. And as you look at the statute, you're like, well, in order for a judge to sign off on all that, all right, I see the statute. Show me what you got that says that this could be possibly a violation of 52 U.S.C. 2511. And then they show it. And none of us knows. And obviously, as you're seeing these people spin crazy, they don't know either. Not even going to pretend to know, but all I do know is they had enough that they showed this judge, and the judge said, okay, I think we should take a look at this. Where are these things at? Oh, they're in a warehouse sitting in Georgia. Just sitting there? Yeah, they've been sitting there for 5 years. Go get them. Wow. Okay, that's where we are. Give me a second here. We'll continue. I got to tell you about another of our sponsor partners today. If your strength, energy, or drive has slipped, this isn't a mindset issue, it's physiology, especially as you get older. As men age, testosterone signaling mitochondrial energy and recovery decline. That means you get weaker workouts, you get slower muscle repair and recovery, you have low motivation, and sometimes you even have poor sleep. Alpha Gold Male is built around ingredients that support the systems behind male performance. It includes ashwagandha, studied for supporting testosterone, signaling stress resilience and recovery. Shilajit extract helps support mitochondrial energy and nutrient transport critical for strength and stamina, and fenugreek supports healthy testosterone pathways and physical performance. And then you add in zinc and magnesium to bind all this stuff, and they play key roles in hormone signaling, muscle function, and nighttime recovery. This isn't about forcing hormones or using any stimulants or going and taking a little blue pill or taking shots of steroids. It's about supporting hormone signaling, cellular energy, and recovery, the things that actually determine how you perform and feel. And I'm not just talking about upstairs in the bedroom. I'm talking about in your daily life. Men report stronger workouts, steadier energy, no big crashes throughout the day, better motivation and focus, and deeper sleep. So if you want real support for strength, energy, and drive, not hype, Alpha Gold Male is linked below. Get your edge back. Go to www.bloodflow7.com. It really does work, and get 30% off today just by clicking the link in the description, or as you see on the screen here. Go to bloodflow-7.com/Barry. Let's go.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, dressed all in black, seemed to look the part of a spy as she moved through the restricted area where the FBI was conducting a search warrant at the Georgia election hub. But the big question is, what was she even doing there?
Now, this guy's from CNN. So CNN ran this piece. And this guy he formerly worked as a spook as well. And he's like, why is she even there? Okay.
It's a question that has set off a firestorm in D.C. intelligence circles and in Congress. Why? Let me say this from what I know as a former Deputy Assistant Director of National Intelligence. The DNI has no legal authority to conduct or oversee investigations on U.S. soil, and no DNI, since the office was created in 2004, has ever been at the scene of a court-authorized FBI search warrant, period. Among the policies the DNI is there to enforce are those that generally prohibit the CIA, the NSA, and other spy agencies from collecting intelligence on Americans or conducting operations on U.S. soil, no matter what you saw on Homeland or 24. The FBI is an exception to that rule. But the FBI has its own director, Kash Patel, and without a documented connection to a hostile foreign power.
I'm sorry. What'd you just say? Everything you said up until that point, you now say, unless there was a documented alignment with a foreign power, I don't even think CNN knew what they said when they said that. I picked up, I went, what happened on January 3rd, bro? You just answered your own question. Your audience is too stupid to understand what you just said. I want you to hear that again, because he said it so quickly, he didn't even realize what he was saying when he's talking about Tulsi Gabbard. Listen to this again.
Homeland or 24. The FBI is an exception to that rule. But the FBI has its own director, Kash Patel, and without a documented connection to a hostile foreign power interfering in the 2020 Georgia election process, what role is Gabbard at?
You just answered it. You just answered the whole thing right there. Unless she's got some sort of tie with some other foreign government that was involved in the elections, as he was reading his script on a teleprompter, didn't he think to himself, wait a second, wait, hold on. Hey guys, do you realize what happened on January 3rd? So you think Trump and Tulsi and everybody's so stupid that they would have her go out and work with the search warrant? Because you know the only way she could do it is if they had a tie or found out something about a hostile foreign government. Seriously, bro? I know. Now that I put it out, I hope you guys all saw that. I'm going to play it one more time so you can hear it and focus on his unless, because that's so big.
But the FBI has its own director, Kash Patel, and without a documented connection to a hostile foreign power interfering in the 2020 Georgia election process.
Remember we were talking about the evidence and the fire below the smoke that they would need to give to a judge. Hi, I'm Nicolas Maduro, and I swear we was involved. He just answered his own question. He played it on CNN, and the idiots at CNN like, yeah, she doesn't even supposed to be there. There's no evidence of another foreign power, and everybody else in the newsroom is, yeah, go ahead and read that. Did none of them see anything in the last month? I mean, was the entire Maduro thing just a mirage? Nobody realized that they went in and picked the guy up. And I'm thinking, how did he even read that on camera? You just said, I am a former bigwig in the spook world. Well, bigwig in the spook world completely missed it. Completely missed it. And I sat back, I actually had to do it myself. I rewound it. Did he really just say that?
What role is Gabbard, as DNI, playing in this investigation? The top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner, wants answers.
This is a director of national intelligence that is affirmatively moved to cut back the Foreign Malign Influence Center on elections. What the heck is she doing?
He just answered it. He did it too. She's supposed to be there to stop, foreign interest. And I'm thinking, I'm on candid camera. I'm thinking at this point, these people don't even realize they're answering their own question. The director of national intelligence basically preemptive, what do you call it? What's that word when you're in school? And I can't even remember now. But she's like one of the head spooks. She's there, and you're saying that she shouldn't be there unless You want to guess? Emeritus was the word I was thinking. She's like head spook emeritus, and they're answering their own question, and they're not understanding. Just blew through it. She can't be there unless there's a foreign government involved.
On the FBI serving a domestic warrant. You know, if this doesn't concern the heck out of every American, it sure as hell should.
We reached out to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence with a specific question. Why was the DNI present at the scene of a federal search warrant in Georgia? This was their response. Director Gabbard recognizes that election security is essential for the integrity of our republic and our nation's security. As DNI, she has a vital role in identifying vulnerabilities in our critical infrastructure and protecting against exploitation.
Did you hear the response? Oh, she's there because, she's guarding against exploitations and, other people digging into our machines and stuff. And I'm thinking, how many people saw that piece, were involved in the writing and the scripting of it to film him sit there and say that she only should be involved unless other governments were involved in infiltrating the election, not knowing that they just took a big guy from Venezuela and stuck him in a jail. These people, yes, they are stupid. And the fact that I've said many times, they must count on you not remembering what happened a couple weeks ago. That you're not able to go and start putting these breadcrumbs together. January 3rd, he gets picked up. January 12th, 2 grand juries open up. January 28th or whatever it was, all hell breaks loose in Fulton County. All you have to do is sit back and write on a piece of paper, and you can see what's happening. I mean, there are people out there right now that are looking at this and saying, so DNI Gabbard was present at the FBI raid in Fulton County to seize massive numbers of ballots from the 2020 election, and the Dems are freaking out. Why would Tulsi be present for this raid? My guess, it pertains to the multi-year treasonous coup she told us about in July. Months ago, she's been working on this. The Dems were engaged in one giant contiguous plot to prevent Trump from getting into office, and then trying to overthrow and remove him from office after he won the 2016 election. The 2020 election was the pinnacle of their regime change operation. Whatever Tulsi found in Fulton County, it's big, and the Democrats are terrified. So big, like I said when I first started here, uncharted territory. Don't know where it goes. General Flynn came in, and he said, we have to stop calling this the 2020 election fraud. It was a stolen election to effect a coup d'etat to deny real Donald Trump the victory and to destroy the United States. Had Trump not won, many of us would be in deep kimchi. And they're not even a sponsor tonight. Deep kimchi right about now. They're everything you're seeing is based upon this. It's nothing to do, Tim Walz, you're going to go to jail. They'll throw Tim Walz under the bus faster than they can blink. Faster than they could blink. And if you guys aren't following Tony Siruga, he's another guy. He's a serious spook as well. Says President Trump says he had very good conversations with Governor Walz and Mayor Fry. And here's the question nobody in Minnesota leadership seems willing to answer out loud. Were those also very good conversations with Cuban and Chinese agents? I'm like, what are you saying here? Because here's the part that should stop every sane American in their tracks. Cuban and Chinese operatives are on the ground in Minneapolis, not rumor, not internet fan fiction. My GPS investigations, my partner and I have access to the IP address of every cell phone on the planet. If you're not following Tony, you'll be amazed at the stuff he puts out there. Real foreign bad actors physically present, meeting in person repeatedly with the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of its largest city. And he's written an article, GPS foreign agents in Minneapolis are talking with Walz and Frey multiple times. This is getting crazy. And then, of course, General Flynn says, could this be another reason why DNI Gabbard was on the ground in Fulton County? Foreign interference inside of our political system is very real, and you don't need a massive surveillance state to figure it out any longer. So you're putting breadcrumbs together now. Other people have been putting breadcrumbs together, and now you know, or should begin thinking, what was this ploy about the Western Hemisphere? Why was it so important to say, this is ours? All of this. Well, I think all of this is intertwined. I think there's some way, shape, or form that all of this is being put together at the exact same time to take the Democrats down. I don't think these people can even. I mean, we've said it that nobody can stop what's coming. They don't even know what's coming, because most of these people weren't involved in the setup. They're just, they were foot soldiers and just told to go do this and do that. Whoever deep state was that was running it, they weren't telling Mark Warner. They weren't telling Adam Schiff. Just do this. That's why they all look frantic right now.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to remind everyone what happened yesterday as it relates to the actual fact pattern of law. And a warrant was issued by a magistrate judge based on probable cause after evidence was submitted. Not a Trump-appointed judge, a magistrate judge. That is the way that the law enforcement process works in America. But we have heard repeatedly that everything was perfect with 2020. In fact, I think we probably at this point could trademark the most secure election in American history.
By the way, this guy, we'll hear more from him, but he's a local Georgia, because I want to show you what some of the people on the ground in Georgia are saying. He's a Georgia politician.
What qualifications we use to measure that, I have no idea. But let's go back to what actually happened in 2020 if we're going to have the conversation. Drop boxes invented out of thin air, nowhere in Georgia law. Mobile voting units moving through Fulton County to 80% Democrat precincts, 81% Democrat precincts to be precise. Nowhere envisioned in Georgia law. 6.8 million absentee ballot request forms with a first-class stamp sent to every registered voter in the state of Georgia. Nowhere envisioned in Georgia law.
Now remember, when all this was happening, there was a Republican governor and a Republican lieutenant governor and secretary of state, and they were doing all this, which means they were fighting against Trump. And this guy is talking to you about the actual constitution of the state of Georgia and all these different things they did. There's nothing written. They just did it. Nobody stopped them, including the governor. Hey, whatever, I don't care.
If you count the same ballots 3 times, in theory, you should get numbers that match. But that didn't happen either. Let's talk about the recount that happened. 3,930 double-scanned ballots in Fulton County alone. Thousands of those have been confirmed by the state election board. Governor Kemp actually raised the concerns of the Moncla-Rossi report, and we now know that there were double-scanned ballots. But even after the ballots were double-scanned in Fulton County, did the numbers match on the second recount? Nope. They were still off by 850 ballots. Not one person here can answer the question of how that happened, and that is a legitimate question. We know that ballot images were deleted. We know that test ballots were included in the recount process, and we have that confirmed. But I want to take just a minute and talk about what the Democrats did in response to legitimate questions over the 2020 election. A former constituent of mine, Derek Somerville, former FBI agent, ran data analysis along with another gentleman named Mark Davis. And remember the 6.8 million absentee ballot request forms that were sent out? They had a first-class stamp. So that means if you filed the national change of address form, that was automatically forwarded to your new address. And they identified reasonable cause to question the validity of 39,141 of those ballots that were cast. They knew that 160 people had been registered to vote from a single UPS store.
And he's going to show you that UPS store in a little while. So this guy, I don't know if he's Republican or Democrat, but he understands that the fraud was voluminous. And like Michael Flynn said, maybe at this point we stop calling it fraud. We should just call it the stealing of an election. We couldn't even talk about it back then. Back then, you couldn't even have this kind of video even discussing what these people did. So it's not far-fetched to know that whatever was happening, and they threw everything out of court, everything out of court. But see, the difference this time is that all the people going to court before, which just so you know, because they'll keep using that against you, that 65 times it was thrown out of court. The people who were suing, whether it be, Rudy or what's the lady's name? All these people that were suing, they didn't have standing, that they say. Difference in this, you can't throw it out of court because the court issued the search warrant. So we've already passed all that. And the other difference is this is criminal. We have opened up a criminal investigation. So this is even stronger, which is why these people are freaking out.
2,138 people have been registered to vote from one church in Fulton County. 1,391 had been registered to vote from a shuttered 1,000 square foot building in Fulton County. Unless you think Fulton County has cleaned up their voter rolls, today, thousands.
Yes, thank you. Sidney Powell. Yes, she went in and tried to do things, and they just kept shooting down their lawsuits. It's almost like they got an order. Just end it. We got to get Biden in January. Let's end all these lawsuits. But this time they got a problem. This was issued by a judge.
Thousands of people are registered to vote in Fulton County at UPS stores, storage units, pack mails, homeless shelters that haven't been open for over 5 years. The Fulton County voter rolls have been and continue to be a mess. But when Derek Somerville and Mark Davis followed the law and filed objections to those voters, what did the Democrats do? Well, Stacey Abrams sued them in federal court. And they won. Not Stacey Abrams, but Somerville and Davis won. Judge Jones, not a Republican judge, ruled in their favor. What have we learned since then about those 39,000 voters? 12,000 of them have been removed from the voter rolls because Somerville and Davis were correct that they were no longer eligible to vote. 9,500 have updated their address to a new address outside of Fulton County, proving once again that Somerville and Davis were correct and those people were ineligible to vote. Ultimately, 84% of the votes of the eligibility that Somerville and Davis challenged were proven to have been invalid voters in the 2020 election.
Wow. Now you know why they're freaking out? I mean, if this stuff is real and they can get in and they find out if they got somebody talking, who knows, maybe Fannie Willis is talking, I don't know. But if somebody is talking, Maduro, anybody else at this point, I don't know where we go from here. I don't even know how people will accept it. When people find out that the election was stolen, what are they going to do? They're going to riot in the streets. They'll go crazy because they will at that point know it's all over. There is no Democrat Party. The Democrats cannot win without doing what they've been doing.
So let's stop this charade of the most perfect, most secure election in history. But more importantly, and I would agree with my colleagues on this, let's look forward to the future elections, and it's darn near past time for Fulton County to clean up their voter rolls.
And so I'm going to show you there's a couple other states that are running into the same problem right now. They don't want to clean up the voter. Why would you not want to clean up the voter rolls? Why would you not want a voter ID? Why would you not want to make it that illegals can't vote? Why would you? Because you can't win. You see, the stuff you're seeing in the street, I think is all just an illusion to keep people from watching what's going on. When they started doing all the craziness in the street, this thing got off the front pages so quickly. They didn't want people continuing to watch what was happening. But it's only just begun.
She's working very hard on trying to keep the election safe, and she's done a very good job. And they, as you know, they got into the votes. You got a signed judge's order in Georgia, and you're going to see some interesting things happening.
Man gives so many comms and breadcrumbs. What? He's on the red carpet with Melania. He's like, we got into it. We know you're going to see some interesting things. I'm like, oh man, don't tease me like that. Like I've said all along, the picture, the contrast, a very confident looking man despite everything that's been happening, and Democrats freaking out. If they were so comfortable, if they were so sure they were going to win, that there was no big deal here, they wouldn't be acting the way they're acting right now. And every time you see Trump, he's a picture of confidence. Oh, we got some real good stuff we're about to show you.
They've been trying to get there for a long time.
In on that and more is Jonathan Turley.
What? They've been trying to get there for a long time. So again, how long has this investigation been going on? To where now it culminated in this search warrant? I don't know. That's pretty, I mean, Kash Patel on another cut said they've been working on it since day one.
The constitutional law expert, Fox News contributor. All right, Jonathan, you heard this all day from Democrats and others. It's 6 years later, machine recount, 2 recounts, a machine count, confirming the results of the election. A lot of eye rolling by Democrats and media types. So what's the point in going back?
Well, that's a very good question, but we do have a court order here. So a judge found that there was probable cause to allow the seizure of this material. And that's just not given for any reason. The judge had to conclude that there was a basis for this. We don't know what caused this search. We will have to see. You know, when the election was occurring, many of us said at the time that we did not see evidence of mass fraud, and that certainly is still the case. But there was a lot of frustration by people who were going to court to try to get access to these ballots. They were largely refused in many states. And so this is a very significant step that these are now in control of the FBI and can be reviewed. Now, whether there's anything there, it's hard to tell. We have to see what this judge felt was a basis for this search, and it's quite an extensive search at that.
So if somebody like Jonathan Turley is stumped, then you know the Democrats are stumped. Of course we are. It's like, what did he see? And, you know, Dan Bongino's back on his show on Monday, and he remember what he said. He saw something that was so bad he couldn't believe it. Maybe he saw it too. I don't know. Did somebody finally found the big pot of complete treasonous fraud? I don't know. But when I saw that Jonathan Turley was stumped, I was like, oh, there's something big here. There is something really big about to happen. And now they've got the goods. And just by Tulsi Gabbard showing up has just completely freaked everybody out.
I have to say that we haven't been briefed yet by our county attorneys, but we have spent millions of dollars in outside legal counsel to fight anybody from ever seeing the actual election materials, the actual ballots, since 2020. So there's been a lot of questions raised. They've admitted there's been a lot of issues with the election, but they've blocked it at every turn of anybody actually getting to see the physical ballots.
I know you and I, Bridget, actually when we first met is because there was a Fulton County commissioner's call in the aftermath of the election. It was virtual because of COVID. You were a caller on that, and you were basically talking on the call about how stacks of ballots printed had gone missing from the warehouse. And then all of a sudden they dropped your call. They dropped your call, and I had to hunt you down on social media and say, what did you know? What did you see? So tell us about that.
Yes, I mean, I was just a normal citizen. I didn't belong to any political party. I just thought that I worked elections 9 years. Thought I was a stellar precinct manager prior to the election. They wanted me to train other election poll workers. So I just happened to be in the warehouse and witness a lot of things of Dominion running our warehouse, the elections group.
Now looking back, many of you heard that Dominion was involved in everything, but people who are in forensics, I don't know, this stuff can't be erased. So I think the part that they couldn't get is they couldn't trace it to this foreign entity. At the time, nobody wanted to let them show, because the ballots are just one thing. The ballots are just one thing that they're going to be checking. If you look again at the search warrant here, want to show you, everyone's focusing on the 700 ballots. The statute that they're looking for is A, knowfully, willfully deprives, defrauds, or attempts, talking about a person. And then down here, known by the person to be materially false, fictitious, or fraudulent. So it's a little bit different. It almost says that somebody knew they were fake, knew that the ballots weren't real, knew that what was going on, and now they willfully and knowingly and willfully went along with it. That almost tells you stool pigeon.
These NGOs, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why they hired him, because most of the people in there knew nothing about elections, yet it was very difficult for me to get hired. And yes, you met me. That was after the state board election meeting, because I was frustrated because I reported everything before the election that I saw, that I witnessed, and nothing was done about it.
So you imagine being one of these people who actually saw it with your own eyes. And they made you feel like you were stupid and probably threatened you and browbeat you. And now you're still here in 2026, available to be a witness again, coupled with whatever she found.
Well, we received word around, I guess around 1 o'clock. I was actually on my way back from Tennessee after visiting family, and I received a phone call that said, "Do you know what's going on?" And apparently the FBI had arrived at Fulton County election warehouse here in South Fulton County. And they've been here all afternoon, and it appears that they're loading up 3 tractor-trailer trucks of election documents and boxes of materials, election materials. So, and as I understand, I think Tulsi Gabbard is here right now. But this is the end of 5 years of trying to get the election documents to answer questions about serious allegations concerning the 2020 election. Our challenge with the state election board is we could not get the documents to prove one way or another that the vote counts and the ballot numbers were correct for the 2020 election. And in fact, we subpoenaed these materials over a year ago, and we've been battling to just get access to the materials.
Can you imagine that it's 2026 now? She's talking about last year, that this has been going on for 5-6 years, where they've tried so hard not to show anybody. If I were Joe Biden, I would have said years ago, "Hey man, you guys got to release this." Yeah, I don't care. Show it to them. I won, right? Right? I won? Shut up, Joe. Why would you be so protective of this? What is the downfall? If everything was on the up and up, what would be the problem? Wow, Joe, he came on late. And man, at 3 o'clock, we just got all these votes that said Joe Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Biden. Yeah, I finished strong. Yeah, just prove it. And you don't even want people to be eyeballing this stuff. This is insane.
To actually complete a couple of serious allegation and investigations.
Well, Dr. Johnson, I believe the FBI also subpoenaed documents, and the Fulton County Election Board has been basically silent in giving your state board documents and giving the FBI documents. So I would assume this is Pam Bondi and Kash Patel's FBI coming in. Obviously, Tulsi Gabbard plays a big role in President Trump's intelligence gathering in his administration. What do you hope happens now with all of this?
I think we're left, as I've told others over the last several months, that we have no other choice but to load up all 700 boxes of election materials from the 2020 election, take them to a secure place where they can be reviewed, investigated, and documented from the 2020 election.
Yeah. You know, I was, quite frankly, starting to lose faith that anything would happen.
Yes, so many people here in the chat, many people on X. We're starting. I voted for him 3 times, but this isn't working. Nothing's happening. And I remember saying, "Stop! There's no way." He had to close ranks. He had to make sure that nobody knew what the hell was going on. Again, I got it. I think I'm going to tomorrow bring in some more information about Sun Tzu and the art of war, because if you see what's happening right now, you can almost point to the number rule in Sun Tzu where this guy is executing it. He sits there, he smiles, he plays his poker hand, he doesn't tell anybody. There's no leaks. People didn't know this was happening. Not from Susie Wiles, not from Stephen Miller, not from Kristi Noem, not from Tulsi Gabbard. Nobody knew this was coming. Yet not everybody, so many people on X are so quick that nothing's happening. Oh my God, the Epstein files. And I kept telling you, hold on, there's something coming. And if you realize that this man, they destroyed him. They want to put him in jail. They want to tear down his businesses. They want to go after his family. They took a shot at him. We don't even know how many attempts they've had on him. And you people were really thinking he's not going to do anything.
It's actually a very big day. I want everybody at home to realize what a big day this is, to see action on the stolen 2020 election. And I do believe it was too big to rig in 2024, but I believe shenanigans were most likely being played in that election as well, Dr. Johnston.
I don't know about 2024. We worked very hard to improve election conduct for 2024, and I think with a tremendous effort of thousands of volunteers being good poll watchers and observers, and also election workers doing their job. I think the 2024 election was better, although I would not say that it's perfect either.
Real quickly, do you think Brad Raffensperger, Secretary of State, who stood in the way of any real investigation, is now maybe shaking in his boots just a little bit?
I don't know about Secretary Raffensperger. All I know is I have worked for 4 years to try to get the documents that the board needed to adequately investigate the 2020 election, and have been met with delay and obfuscation and frustration and the simplest of requests.
So now I want to show you something. President Trump posted this. It's like 15 seconds long. 15 seconds long, President Trump posted this.
I just thought it was strange that only Biden's name was selected, no down ballot. And I watched multiples. I don't know how many I watched, and not one of them was for Trump. I thought that was really strange, especially being military. You must know in your heart that this election was fraudulent. There's no question of it if you really are sensible.
He posted that, and he's continued to post about it. He knows something. This is why Gavin Newsom and so many of them, President Trump's trying to stop the 2026 election. No, it's not him. It's what may get revealed. And they are completely freaking out. And I've spent a lot of time in Georgia. Outside of Atlanta, I don't think you find like 20% that are voting, that voted for Biden, maybe 30%. Everywhere you drive through there, it was Trump signs, Trump signs. And I know there were so many people in Georgia and North Carolina who went, what? How is this happening? North Carolina? Georgia? There's no way Stacey Abrams, and no way that, what's his name, Ossoff, and no way that Warnock, no way. There's no way these people could have won in deep red Georgia. There's no way legally somebody could have been a Democrat governor in North Carolina. Yeah, you got your pockets around the colleges, but you're talking lots, big states. That's why they're thinking at this point that there won't be an election, because they know what they needed to do. Let's continue.
A source tells CNN that this is part of an effort by the Justice Department to seize election records and pursue allegations of voter fraud in the 2020 election. Now, the metro Atlanta area is, of course, the centerpiece of President Trump's baseless claims that the 2020 election was stolen from him.
See how they do that all the time? Because it's not talking to you. They're trying to, basically propagandize the idiots watching them. Baseless. Well, obviously not baseless, honey. You just had a judge sign a search warrant. It'll all come out. You don't have to worry about trying to convince everybody now. We're going to see for ourselves what it's all about.
The Justice Department has previously sued the county to try to obtain these records. That litigation is ongoing. Now, another important piece of context here is that in the first Trump administration, under then Attorney General Bill Barr, the Trump Justice Department looked into these allegations and did not find enough evidence to pursue a full-blown investigation. But here, the second Trump Justice Department is back and serving the search warrant. That is what we know as of now.
Notice she didn't say it was signed by a judge. See, the next couple of clips I'm going to show you are Democrats who are basically trying to hide right now. And again, it's Trump's fault, it's Pam Bondi's fault, it's Kash Patel's fault. Hey, the judge signed off on the search warrant. And here comes Ossoff.
An FBI raid on the Fulton County Elections Office. His conspiracy theories about the 2020 election have been based in Georgia from the very start. Georgia is where he called the Secretary of State and said, find me the votes that he needed to win in a state he had lost. So much of the big lie that led to the January 6th sacking of the United States Capitol, that had a mob seeking the Speaker of the House and the Vice President to lynch them.
It ain't working anymore, bro. It is not working anymore. Maybe with the idiots on MS, what do they call them? MSN Now. Maybe with them, but normal people are like, seriously lynching them? This is what you're still saying all this time later?
Originated in his lies about the state of Georgia. And here he has the FBI, which there are so many hardworking, diligent public servants in FBI field offices all across the country, but its headquarters now in the thrall of these political appointees, Kash Patel and Bongino and this guy from Missouri in the deputy role, who are partisan political actors.
Who were Biden's Department of Justice? I think it was Merrick Garland. I think the President Biden picked his own guy to be the Attorney General. I'm pretty sure Biden picked who he wanted his. Matter of fact, I think every single president picks their own partisan people. Anybody still believing this? Notice the thing that he hasn't said. There's no declination. There's nothing that says it didn't happen. Just that, oh, here he comes again. You do realize this time a judge signed it, right? You do realize that.
Raiding this election office in Georgia, seizing all of this information, all of these records, taking it who knows where, chain of custody now broken. And here's the thing.
Now that's going to be their next defense. They're going to say the chain of custody is broken because a higher law enforcement agency now has, quote, custody of these ballots. Now I'm going to make a huge hypothesis here. My hypothesis is the ballots have nothing to do with what they're looking for. I think the part that this guy's missing, and none of the people on the left are saying, is the electronics, the computers, the cell phones, probably the machine data that they're digging into. The ballots are basically like the salad before a meal. You guys are all worried about the ballots. The tabulation is what's suspect here. Here, again, look at what was said in the search warrant. The search warrant carries criminal penalties for any election official who knowingly and willfully deprives, defrauds, or attempts to deprive or defraud the residents, blah, 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 by the procurement, casting, or tabulation. It's the machines. It's the phones. It's USB drives. That's what's going to sink this. Not 700,000 pieces of paper, the stuff you can't erase. That's what's going to sink these people.
This is a shot across the bow at the midterm elections. He tried to steal power when he lost it in 2020. We have to be prepared for all kinds of schemes and shenanigans. We have to be prepared for him to try to deprive people of their voting rights. In Georgia, where we have the most competitive United States Senate race in the country, and I'm asking people to help me defend this election and voting rights in Georgia, to log on to electjohn.com.
Well, the way you can stop this criminal activity, give me money. That's how I'm asking you people out there. You know, if you want me to help stop this, give me some money. Seriously, bro.
JON.com and contribute to help us fight the good fight and make sure that the people can speak.
How are you going to fight? I'm just asking, if I was on that panel, how are you going to fight? I don't think Tulsi Gabbard is looking to talk to you right now about anything. Now, this one here, this next piece, another local, I think this is the guy who runs Fulton County, which after you see this guy, you wouldn't put much credence into him, but he's worried now about the chain of custody.
They have been removed from this facility, out of our control. We don't know where they're being taken. We don't know what's going to happen to them. So we can no longer, and I can no longer, as chair of this board, satisfy not only the citizens of Atlanta, but the citizens of the world that those ballots are still secure.
Why can't you? You see, if I had an inventory, if I had a spreadsheet that says ballots 1 through 2005 and bin number 12, and there's a seal around them or anything, why are they less secure because you don't have them? We're talking about a head spook has taken control of these ballots. And you're telling me you are more secure than, the government. So this is going to be their whole thing. I guarantee you they're going to say, it's been changed. That's not how it was. Okay, where's your documentation that shows what it looked like before you turned it over? I'm sure you've had some inventory. I'm sure you've had some way to document this. I'm sure you had something on your computer that says, John Smith and his vote is in, pile B. And so all of a sudden, if we look at your data and your data says that, vote tabulation or ballot 1525 is in bin number 92, and all of a sudden it's not there, then you might have a problem. So all you had to do is come up with your inventory. So what are you worried about?
So that is a major concern that I have right now. Again, my point is, once they were here, as long as they were here in control of Fulton County, I was confident.
you're looking at these two people, and would you feel an election is secure because these two people have the documents? I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm definitely not trying to pick any problems with these people, but they look like that they got a handle on things. I'm serious.
That they were safe and secure. And the other point I'd like to make, this goes back to the 2020 elections. For the life of me, I still cannot understand the fascination about the 2020 elections, which occurred 6 years ago. That election is over with. That election has been reviewed, it's been audited, and in every case, every instance, we get a clean bill of health.
Did you know about this guy from Venezuela? I'm just asking. Did you know about the guy from Venezuela they just picked up? All of a sudden, January 3rd. You know, President Trump said a long time ago, I have everything. I believe all this evidence, whatever it is already in place. This is just to basically show how badly they screwed up. I believe they already have it. I believe that if Tulsi's been working on this stuff for months, they already showed the judge, look at this. Look at what they've done. All right, well, go pick it up. Let's see. These people they're about to lose it.
Is there anybody who knows what happened in 2020 on that night at State Farm Arena? It was Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts. I was there. So the fascination with this, I still don't understand it. But we'll have more to say later.
I just want to say that Fulton County Department of Registration and Elections is always and will continue to maintain fair, transparent, and accurate elections.
Does she know a woman named Fannie Willis that probably has an office right down the hall from her? I'm just wondering. You act like everything's perfect in Fulton County, and we just watched your head prosecutor get bounced for, all the problems she had. And it wasn't because she was sleeping with her co-prosecutor. So spare me everything is fine here, because we just went and saw a trial where she got up on in the stand and said, money? I keep my cash in my bed. Like, oh, please don't say that.
And we will continue to do the work of the electorate here in Fulton County. The FBI is still in the building. We have fully complied. We will always comply with law enforcement and with the rule of law. And that's what we do here in Fulton County. And that's all I have to say.
Mr. Pitt, how concerned are you, sir? How concerned are you voter information will be compromised? Mr. Pitt, how concerned are what you're doing is extremely dangerous.
Okay, you love this one. I'm telling you, the contrast of confidence versus complete manic panic. This woman here is one of the board of electors in Fulton County.
Why is it dangerous?
Because you're spreading conspiracy theories.
It's not a conspiracy theory. Do you have $45? I'm not undermining. I'm not saying people are voting there. Ma'am, I'm not saying that people are voting there. I'm not saying people are voting there. I'm saying people are currently registered to vote there. We went around Fulton County the last few weeks, and we see that people are currently registered to vote in places like empty lots, homeless shelters that closed 10 years ago. What would you do if you become Secretary of State to address that?
I'm not going to reply to conspiracy theories.
It's not conspiracy. It's a current. You can currently go on the voter rolls, purchase them for $45, and go there with us. We will gladly take you if you want to go to.
I appreciate what you're saying. I'm not going to respond to conspiracy theories.
How is that a conspiracy?
This woman is running for Secretary of State, and she doesn't even want to know what everybody else already knows, that there's people registered to vote on empty lots. And she don't want to even hear it.
Conspiracy theory. It's an act of voter rolls. If you're going to be running for Secretary of State, you're in charge of maintaining the voter rolls. Don't you care about if people are registered to vote from empty lots?
Questions. I appreciate it. I've got to.
Do you think it's a conspiracy theory that people are registered to vote from empty lots, though? Well, I have the ability to go wherever I want to. People are currently registered to vote in empty lots, Commissioner. And if you're going to run for Secretary of State, aren't you going to at least take a look at that? It took me $45 to purchase the voter rolls. You can do that as well for the Fulton County. You can see that people are registered to vote from empty lots. They're registered to vote at a...
What was it saying? They won't be able to walk down the street. They will not be able to walk down the street. They can't answer questions. They know they're caught. Imagine being one of these people. You know what just happened. You know they just came down hard. You know that Tulsi Gabbard and obviously the spook system is looking at you. You're done. You've already been caught. You just don't feel the handcuffs yet. And so you can't even answer these questions because you know it's true. And this guy who's asking these questions, like, I can show you the lots. It's available on your website. I can download it for $45. Look, there's 200 people registered to vote here, and there's nothing but dirt. And she's running.
MARTA bus station. Are you not going to do anything about that? You're just going to call that conspiracy theories again? We have exact addresses that you can go to right now. 205 Elm Street Northwest. That's an empty lot. You can go there right now and see it for yourself. Do you not care about that? You're an elected official and you don't want to address that? Commissioner, if you're going to be running for Secretary of State, and that involves maintaining clean voter rolls in one of the most important counties, I would say, in the United States.
I think what you're doing is extremely dangerous.
Why is it dangerous?
Because you're spreading conspiracy theories.
It's extremely dangerous because you might let everybody see I'm a blooming idiot. And I'm terrified because I can't answer the questions because I know we stole the election. That's why it's dangerous. It's dangerous because people are seeing you when you could easily turn to them and say, no, I didn't know that. What was the address you went to? I went to 123 Smith Street. I will check that out tomorrow. It would be over. But besides the fact that she didn't know, that'd be the other part of it.
Conspiracy theory. Do you have $45? I'm not undermining. I'm not saying people are voting there. Ma'am, I'm not saying that people are voting there. I'm not saying people are voting there. I'm saying people are currently registered to vote there. Jason, right? People are currently registered to vote there. We're not saying people are voting there, Commissioner. We're saying clean the rolls. Jason, so she said that it's a conspiracy theory. Let me actually.
There are people who are registered.
All right, so now, after what she said, he and his buddy decide, well, let's go show people. Let's prove to people that she's full of crap.
To vote directly from this location right here. It is 1401 Lee Street. Does this look like a place that people live here?
I haven't found any mailboxes. I don't see any beds. It doesn't look like it to me.
Doesn't look too comfy to sleep here. So, Jason, explain to us. Like with all the other places, people aren't legally able to register to vote from here. They ended up on our registration voter rolls. What is going on? What is the state going to do about this?
I'm not sure what the state's going to do about it. I turned in this address to Fulton County a couple of years ago. I turned it into the state a couple of years ago. And then recently I went back through and looked at every one of those that I had turned in and checked to see how many people are still registered to vote at those bad addresses today, and how many votes have been cast at those bad addresses. And my understanding, based on Georgia law, is OCGA 21-2590 clearly says that that is a felony to knowingly allow somebody to vote illegally. And that...
It's a felony to knowingly and willfully defraud or attempt to deprive or defraud the residents of Georgia. You knew that there was nobody living there. So whether or not, and this is what the funny part is, whether or not the ballot was correct, whether or not the piece of paper was correct, the paper shouldn't have been submitted. So you could have a perfect ballot that perfectly went for Joe Biden that should have never been counted because it's at a train station. This is how they're going to get caught. It's like, hey, Joe Smith can't possibly be living here. It's a train station.
In my opinion, is what's happening.
These may look like random truck boxes, but Jason, explain to us what is currently happening 10 feet away from us.
Yeah, David, this is a beautiful day. We've been trying to get these ballots, everything from 2020, pretty much since 2020. We've been told time and again everything was fine. Don't worry about it. Why are you investigating 2020? This happened so many years ago. You know what? If there was nothing to hide, they would have showed us years ago. Now we're going to find out. These trucks are on their way to Virginia. They're going to be out of state very soon, and it is time to get to the bottom of 2020.
So basically, it's about 700 ballot boxes from the 2020 election because, again, this is the Fulton County Election Office. Today, FBI executed a search warrant where they seized essentially those 700 boxes.
Everything.
And now they've officially left. This is the train, as we'll say, that's on the way, hopefully, out of Georgia.
In safe keepings.
Exactly. We don't want a judge to suddenly, and real quickly, we'll get to the judge in a second. These are actual people that you know that you've been fighting together with since 2020.
Yes.
Trying to make this a possibility. You've been here till the minute that they left, and it seems like they're probably going to follow them to make sure that everything will be fine and secure.
We've got to make sure the ballots get there and there are no hiccups. Yeah. But this is a beautiful day. I mean, we need to get to the bottom of this. Whoever won, we just want the answers. Yeah. It's time to stop hiding.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations, Jason, and to everyone here.
Thank you.
See, that's what I was saying, is because this is water that nobody has ever swam in. We don't even have anything on the books of some people being so deviant as to be releasing a jabademic and then cheating. I don't even... Firing squad. I don't know what you do with these people and how many of them were involved. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
That's still just so crazy. 5 years later, just so nuts.
See, Jake can't take it. It's 5 years. Why are we even looking at it? They never thought he was going to win, and now they can't believe a comeuppance is due. Now, interesting, this guy that he brings on, it's very interesting to me. This guy was a Republican. He screwed over Trump, and now he's running as a Democrat, and CNN's got him on the show.
Let's discuss with the former Republican lieutenant governor of Georgia during that election, Jeff Duncan, who is now a Democratic candidate.
Wait. So he was a lieutenant governor under Kemp, and he was a Republican, and now he's a Democrat. Okay. That doesn't sound odd at all. That seems completely normal.
Running for governor. Thank you so much for joining us. We just got this new video showing the FBI loading boxes into a truck at the Fulton County elections office at the hub after serving this warrant. What do you make of this?
Well, it's just another disgusting attempt by Donald Trump and his administration to try and rewrite history. But I think it's important to recognize Donald Trump does not care, has never cared about protecting democracy or due process or following the law or.
Actually, the very nature of what you're talking about makes you stupid. He's following the law. The judge signed off on it and said, go get him. Isn't that the very nature of following the law? I mean, literally, Jake Tapper just said they served a warrant. I'm sure most people realize a warrant comes from a judge. The judge said, go pick this stuff up. They went and picked this stuff up. And then the guy comes on and said he's not following the law. If people watching CNN don't understand how badly they're being lied to, that's why you got people running around in the street. They don't understand. I mean, literally, it was 30 seconds later. You have a search warrant, blah, 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 signed by a judge, and he's not following the law. Well, you know what not following the law would be? For him to ignore the search warrant, moron.
Or just embracing the facts or even protecting innocent lives at this point with what's playing out in Minnesota. Donald Trump has figured out the cheat code. If he can weaponize the federal government, he can feel like he's getting his way each and every day. And it's wrong. People are losing their lives and their livelihoods. We're losing.
Huh? And I love it how these hosts on these stations just let these people vomit all over their show. They wouldn't say, hey, hold on. Who? Please spell out all these people. Are you talking about Minnesota?
Traction all across the world. We're the laughing stock of even third world countries these days at the way Donald Trump is working.
and this guy's running now for governor. Georgia, you need to help. This guy's lying every step of the way here. And just remember, he was the lieutenant governor. This guy who hates Trump, completely hates Trump, was the lieutenant governor a short time ago. So I believe everything coming out of his mouth. Not. That makes me even more suspect of what happened in Georgia. You're telling me since 2020, you have decided, nah, I was a Republican. Now I want to be a communist all of a sudden. No, what that tells me, you were undercover. You were a plant.
It's hard to imagine a scenario more than the Trump administration shows up to kindergarten class in the West Wing every morning with their crayon box, and they literally spend all day trying to rewrite history. And this is another attempt.
What? That's how bad it is, people. I didn't make it up. I just wanted to show it to you that the former lieutenant governor who was Republican, who was in charge of trying to get all the ballots together, has now gone completely TDS and hates Trump. All of a sudden, this has happened. Anybody buying that? Or was he TDS back then and was just hiding, pretending to be a Republican? A lot of that going on lately.
They're bringing up things like voter rolls, and they're bringing up things like other documents.
Wow, it's getting around. It's really getting around at this point. Now, this guy's, in fact, everything else that's going on in Minnesota, in case you don't know, this is the Attorney General of Minnesota. This is Keith Ellison. Now, he's worried about voter rolls. What's wrong, man? It's bad enough that you gave away $1 trillion to the Somalis. Now you're worried about voter rolls?
In order to relieve this tremendous pressure that they've imposed on our state, 4,000 ICE agents acting horribly, a blanket of real intimidation and brutality across our state.
Leader Jeffries, what do you make of Anna Paulina Luna talking about attaching the SAVE Act to the DHS funding bill when it comes back to the House with the amendments made for DHS?
That's not happening.
Not happening. Just smirky, smug. Nope. We are not going to stop newcomers from voting. We have to have them be able to vote. There's not even going to talk about it.
The reality is, what's in front of us right now is that ICE needs to be dramatically and totally reformed. Big changes are needed that are bold and transformative, period, full stop.
So do you support the SAVE Act, SAVE Act voter ID for elections? Do you support that?
We support dramatic changes.
They've perfected the ability not to answer the question. She asked him again, what about the SAVE Act, getting IDs? Why is this so freaking difficult? I don't understand it.
To the manner in which DHS has been conducting itself. Taxpayer dollars should not be used to kill and brutalize American people and to violently target law-abiding immigrants. It's not a controversial position. It's the position that the overwhelming majority of the American people hold, including apparently now the NRA.
What about the FBI raid in Fulton County? Are you concerned any fraud's going to be uncovered there?
Donald Trump continues to want to litigate the fact that he lost the 2020 election. I don't understand how he thinks this is going to help his position, which is failing before the American people.
They're lost. They are completely lost. There's no way for them to overcome this. And all the smugness and everything else, people should be a little bit understanding at this point is you don't want ID? We can't fly. You can't buy booze. You can't play poker. There's so many things you can't do without an ID. Who are all these people that all of a sudden can't get ID? I'm so sick of them saying black people are suppressed because they don't have an ID. I bet you they do when they got to cash them checks. I bet you they do when they go to get them SNAP cards. Stop lying to us. Stop trying to let everything be so racial that black people can't do this. It's voter suppression. I'm over it. I've had it to here. It's worse than the Epstein stuff by continuing that false mantra that it's voter suppression. It's 2026. You're telling me people don't have IDs? I call it BS on that. I know I told you I had a rental tenant one time, and she every first of the month she took a ride to go get her check. Everybody who's supposed to has ID. Anybody who needs it can get ID. At some point, we have to be adults and say that argument has to stop. It has to completely stop. And you don't need mail-in votes. Get off your ass and go vote. Everybody else does. You need a ride, they got all kinds of handicap rides as well. This is ridiculous. And that's why they're freaking out. Got another piece to show you. Earlier I showed you that one congressman in Georgia. Well, he took his act on the road to verify.
All right, y'all. Yesterday, I made a serious allegation on the floor of the Georgia State Senate that Fulton County's voter rolls have been, and continue to be a complete mess. And today we're going to bring you the receipts. Currently, in the state of Georgia, it is illegal to be registered to vote from anywhere other than your primary residence. Can't register to vote at UPS stores, can't register to vote at homeless shelters, can't register to vote under an overpass. But today, and this is as of the January 5th Fulton County voter rolls, about 70 people are registered to vote right here. We're going to bring you a couple more locations to show you that this is not an anomaly. Fulton County has got to get their act together. All right, y'all, this is 850 Oak Street in Fulton County, and there are 19 people registered to vote.
And you saw the lady running in the parking lot. She could have just said, hey, listen, see this broken down house? I should get the address. I'm going to buy that house and fix it up. But anyway, he's showing you all these people who are supposedly voters live here.
At this abandoned house. And so again, this is on the Fulton County Registrar. They've got to clean up their voting rolls. This is not a new problem. And remember, back in 2020, absentee ballot request forms were sent to every single registered voter, including at locations just like this. All right, so we are 1445 Woodmont Lane, physicaladdress.com, 138 people registered to vote, but I've got a treat for you. This is Jason Frazier. Jason, come on in the frame here. Jason is the guy that's done all of the heavy lifting on this. He and David Kate are the two folks that brought this to my attention. Jason, how hard was it to figure out that you had thousands of people in Fulton County?
By the way, this guy here, Jason, was the guy who was there with, I believe, David. They were recording the trucks going. Actually, we got to see if we can get these guys on.
He registered to vote from illegal voting locations.
You know, it's not that difficult. The hardest part is getting a copy of the voter rolls. I mean, not everybody wants to spend $485 for the statewide voter roll, but essentially once you get it, just sort it based on number of people who want address. And this one jumped real far out of the page because there's 138 people registered vote here. And when we turn the camera, you'll see it's just it looks like it used to be a house, but now it's a commercial virtual mailbox. So
Yesterday I did my interview with the Data Republican. You guys can, a lot of people ask me, what can we do? You can do this in your own area. Go get the voter rolls. If they cost something, maybe somebody else can get them to you, and then you can parse them through AI. Hey, how many of the people on this voter roll live at a place or say they live at a place that's a UPS store or a mail drop? And the AI will do it for you. And if you need help doing it, ask Grok to go ahead and parse it for you. What used to take weeks and months literally takes seconds. Tell me, how many people live at this address?
can't fathom there's 138 beds in that house, so they can't be registered to vote there.
Here's the thing, Jason, that's really compelling to me. The county has every piece of zoning information. They know this is a commercial location. They obviously can do easy database sorting and searching. You also, though, have identified 1,000 people that were born in the year 1900.
Yeah. I'm telling you, and I wasn't setting anybody up, but this is the kind of thing that AI can do. We didn't have this years ago. Now you can put any document, any information into AI, feed it, upload it as a PDF. It'll come back out and tell you there are 1,400 berries. I'm like, wow. And how many of them, their last name begins with C? Oh, none. Okay. You can parse so much data so quick. And then once you find it, you find stuff like this. There are how many people registered to live at a fake address?
On the Fulton County voter rolls, you've identified a couple hundred other people that are that very much seem to be the same person, same name, same address. I'm sorry, same date of birth.
Yeah.
And tell us about some of that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of folks across Georgia who show 1800 or 1900 as their date of birth, which means what I've heard is that means they don't know their date of birth. If Fulton County or anywhere in the state, they don't know your date of birth, how can they be checking to see if you're a legal resident? And a lot of these, we were talking about the duplicates, they'll have two people registered at the same address with the same year of birth in slight variations of their names. So maybe it's Bob and Robert, maybe it's Bob and Bob. And it's clearly the same person at that address. But if you've got typos in somebody's name and you don't know their date of birth, how in the world do we know they're a U.S. citizen? And that just needs to be cleaned up so we can verify everything.
And here's the last thing I'd like to say. The fact that people like Jason and David and, a number of other people from Derek Somerville to Mark Davis to Philip Davis have had to do this kind of work on their own is frankly absurd. The Fulton County Registrar, this is their job. They are the ones that are supposed to keep the voter rolls clean. And like I've said before, and Fonnie Willis got mad when I said it, it's always Fulton County. And Fulton County has got to get their act cleaned up. Jason, thank you for the work that you guys have done. Super, super grateful.
Thank you.
I'm going to head to the next location. And I think we're heading next to maybe a homeless shelter. But ironically, there's a homeless shelter across the street from the Capitol with 1,900 people.
Yeah, they've had as many as 2,000.
Fulton County is booked. I mean, completely booked. The Democrats never wanted people looking into this stuff, and now it's all coming out years later, and it's easy to find, even in your own area. This is the kind of thing that should have put people in jail a long time ago. How do you completely ignore this? Oh, that's right. You were a Republican then, but now you're a Democrat. That guy is. They knew what was happening. It was widespread. They couldn't find any way to shut it down, and so they just got everybody to ignore everything that Sidney Powell and Giuliani filed. Nope. We don't even want to look at it, which tells me we also need to look at those judges now that we've seen what they can do. Who were the judges back then that were just summarily dismissing every single case? Don't want to look at it. Now you know why Mike Pence was the way he was. The fix was completely in. There's no doubt about it now. These people living in different addresses, they all knew. And nobody even wanted to look at the information. Judge, there's 1,900 homeless people that are voting at one address. Sorry. They basically gave the middle finger to America.
2,300, 2,400 is most I've seen. And I mean, you can go right on their website. They don't have that many beds. This is the problem.
All right, this is 477 Peachtree Street. There's 70 people registered to vote here. It's a homeless shelter that closed in 2017.
I have to laugh because otherwise we cry. Now, I mean, with what you're seeing, there's no doubt. Doubt has been removed. Now we just have to figure out what are we going to do about it. The Democrats have lied. They continue to lie. They continue to put up a front of it's Trump, when they won't even look at the documentation. Tell me how this place closed in 2017. Nobody's there. It's basically condemned, and you had a whole bunch of people voting from there. It's that simple to look at. You don't even want to look at the paper.
All right, y'all, here we are, 2625 Piedmont, another UPS store, 96 registered voters right here in direct violation of Georgia law. Not hard to find for us, apparently pretty hard to find for Fulton County.
And I literally could go on for another hour. There's so much between the money fraud and the election fraud. You just sit there and go, my gosh, what has happened to this country? And just so you know, that's Georgia. You heard Keith Ellison talking about Minnesota. It's happening everywhere. I'm going to close with this next piece. It's Saturday, so I'm not going to go for 3 hours, but I'm going to close with this next piece. This next piece will get you collectively going, oh no. Oh no. Trust me.
Do you believe that people should have to be United States citizens in order to vote in Arizona's elections?
I'm representing an organization and I'm speaking to this bill. I've shared those sentiments.
Does the organization you're here representing believe that people should have to be United States citizens in order to vote in Arizona's elections?
That's a question that I'd have to go back for that.
We live in a clown world. We live in an absolute clown world. You might as well ask them, do you believe men can have babies? They're not able to answer the most rudimentary of questions. It's too hard. Do you have to be a citizen to vote? I'm going to have to go back and check with my boss and ask him what he wants me to say.
Very specific question to get the response because I don't know.
Mr. Chair, that's not an answer.
It is not.
My name is Jody Lee. I'm here on behalf of Lucha.
Does Lucha believe that people should have to be citizens of the United States in order to vote in Arizona's elections?
I believe that I don't have an answer from that directly from Lucha.
Cry. Start crying now because it's happening across the country. They have taken control of the voter election boards and they have replaced them with frickin' zombies. You think it's bad, the ones that are running around in the street? They're also running stuff. Can you answer this question?
And I think certainly they believe all taxpayers should have access to democracy.
That was quite a word salad. People who are non-citizens who are working in Arizona, whether they're here legally or illegally, pay taxes. Does Lucha believe that non-citizens should be able to vote in Arizona just because they pay taxes?
I don't feel comfortable making a definitive statement on.
I know some of you right now are full facepalm. Oh no. Oh, this is what's coming. This is what's coming. This is what they're setting up. This is what their entire agenda was, and Trump screwing it up. These people are basically answering the question without answering it. Yeah, we think everybody should vote. We want to take America from Americans.
On behalf of the organization.
Hi, sorry, Caitlin Contreras with the ACLU.
Is it the position of the ACLU that people should have to be U.S. citizens in order to vote in Arizona's elections?
ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, right? American Civil Liberties. Let's say it again. ACLU, American Civil Liberties.
It is the ACLU's position that voting should be fair and accessible and to everyone who is eligible.
That would be a U.S. citizen.
If we don't get it right, if we don't put these people in jail, if we don't stop this, we're done. They're coming for us. That was from January 28th. That was a couple days ago they held that hearing. And the guy who posted the video went, you're not going to believe this. The same way that they can't tell whether a man can have a baby and they can't tell you what a woman is, can somebody vote who's not a citizen? I'm going to have to go check with somebody. What page do you have to look at? Have you never read the Constitution? They're coming for it. I'm telling you right now, I keep telling people, are you ready? Are you seriously ready for what's about to happen? Because this is what they're going to be doing. They have not slowed down even this much, to the point where they're walking into a commission hearing and going, I don't know. Man, this is really bad. Well, that's what I got for you guys tonight. Oh man, it's just absolutely insane when you think about this stuff. It makes you cry if you had to just think about where we are as a country and what people are doing and what they plan on doing to you, me, my kids, my kid, Ashley, the grandkids, your family. They are hell-bent on taking America away from you. And if you're sitting on the sidelines, if you don't think that this fight is where you need to be, it's going to be too late. We all have to find a way to get into this thing. Nobody can be spectators. They're not. You see, right now, they're running around out in Minnesota in 20 below zero weather trying to do stuff. They're out there in Los Angeles. They're going to continue to mobilize. What are you prepared to do? I'm not going to go too far there tonight, but I just want you guys to understand what you've seen tonight. It's coming. It's coming. All right, the Memphis Conservative. I think she took that picture on purpose. Oh, I'm sure she did. She's talking about this picture of Tulsi Gabbard. Yep, she's a spook. She knew somebody was looking at her, and she took that picture on purpose. Marie, thank you. Ernest Spencer. Lots of people have to start singing. What you gonna do when they come for you? Absolutely. Nick, 17, said it would come down to the military. This is all leading up to martial law and military tribunals. Word of advice: get in the Word of God and Jesus Christ. Yeah, because I don't think people are ready for what's going to happen. And like Nick says, it's coming. I don't think there's any doubt. There's no uniting. There's no way we're coming together as a country. Can't happen. They don't want you. They don't want you to be a part of this country. Macon Blankenship, I wonder where Maduro is vacationing these days, really. Buddy, I grew up in Atlanta, Chicago of the South. James Crow, thank you. Juan Perez, finally my 4:30 a.m. bedtime on November 20th has been vindicated. At that time, Trump was way ahead, and I feel very confident that we had to win. Jose, Fanny had to know all those meetings at the White House. Yep. Can't even imagine how much stuff he must have. Edward, very great show today. It's a beautiful day. Lots of officials are shaking in their boots. Absolutely. I don't know if you've seen a video from Gavin Newsom. I mean, his face is all crinched up. He's pissed off. They're going to take the election. Zion, prophecy received January 18th investigation into the 2020 election. Prominent Democrat leaders arrested. 2024 election gives Trump 3 straight terms with second having. I don't even know what the remedy would be. Is he owed another? I don't even know where we could go. I don't know what the remedy could be. America Ramirez. Hey, Barry, send an email to Ashley. Take a look at the Ralph Pizzulo. Give everything to FBI, Venezuela, China, and servers on Siberia computer from Venezuela connected to the internet. I don't doubt that at all. Cutting edge. Trump said last year that the evidence would arrive in truckloads. He sure did. He sure did. Tucker, RBI Sports, Tucker is right all along about the Dominion voting machines. The former owners of Dominion should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Barry said it tonight. It's the machines. I believe it's the machines. I believe it's the machines. Fulton of crap, the Redeemed Patriot says. The Cleve, thank you. Neo, 2020 vote results were railroaded. 3x Trump voter. New stolen day after election. God bless our president of peace. Yes, for sure. Might not be too peaceful the next couple days. And Ronaldo, Virginia has voter registration duplicate rate of 33%. So that means Sparnsberger wasn't elected either. Man, I don't know where this all goes. I guess we'll find out very soon. Just understand, I think the best thing that you can do is just ignore the panicans. Ignore the so-called black pillars. People keep saying nothing's happening. And obviously, things are indeed happening. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for tuning in. And just remember, this wasn't by accident whatsoever. There was nothing you can do at that level that's by accident. Nope, can't happen. So that was a serious comm, letting somebody know. And in addition to that, she's dressed all in black. And I wonder what that means. Lady in black. She's in full black. Pants, her jacket, her sweater or shirt, her hat, all black. Can that be by accident? Coincidence? I don't think there are any coincidences. There was one more here that came and left from the Memphis Conservative. The only thing that would mess up the Maduro case in New York will be that Clinton-appointed 92-year-old judge. I pray. What if it never gets to a judge? What if Maduro is and talking. Yeah, never know. Or the wife. Who knows? Penny Quarter, thanks for this wonderful, glorious proof of election theft I've seen. I knew there was proof, but so happy a magistrate judge wants to hear it. Yes, just remember, it was a warrant signed by a judge, and then just go ahead and familiarize yourself with that that statute. That statute, do I have it still? Yeah. Look it up yourself, 52 USC 511. And, you know, the actual statute says what they're looking for. So this is a lot deeper than, oh, Trump's just trying to be, this guy or that guy. No, there's a judge signed off on it. Late one came in. I live in Georgia. He was always a never Trumper, even during the 2020 election. Roethlisberger is dirty too. Yeah. I think we're finding that out. All right, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening and enjoy church tomorrow if you're a churchgoer. And then probably stay warm. That's the biggest thing. And I'll probably talk to you guys tomorrow night since we'll all be like bound in the house. Thanks for tuning in.